2022, Ms. Zapata was the Deputy Director of the Milwaukee Elections Commission. She was responsible for administering elections. Her responsibility to ensure elections ran smoothly, free of fraud, free of concern. In particular, she was in charge of absentee ballots. It was her responsibility to make sure absentee ballots were appropriately processed, appropriately managed. Her role was that as a protector of elections. Ms. Zapata then stepped outside of that role as a protector and stepped into the role of the fraudster. On October 25th of 2022, in the early morning hours, Ms. Zapata went to the My Vote website. My Vote is the forward-facing electronic website that individuals can go to. Anyone in the public goes to this website, they can look up their voting record, or they can request an absentee ballot. Ms. Zapata went to this website, she accessed this website, and she entered 3 people: Holly Adams, Holly Jones, Holly Branch. None of these 3 people exist. These are all fake people she entered. She entered 3 birthdays for these people, all the same birthday. She entered the same last 4 numbers of Social Security for all of these individuals. And then she requested that all of these ballots be issued to the exact same address. An address in Menominee Falls, in particular the address of State Representative Janelle Branch. Zapata went into the system knowing this was wrong, knowing this was fraudulent. She had these ballots sent off anyway. This ballot request was then sent off and received by municipal clerks in 3 different municipalities: in Shorewood, in Menominee Falls, and in South Milwaukee. Clerks for each of these municipalities, they did their jobs. They received an absentee ballot request. They processed that request, and a ballot was sent off based on that request. Based on Ms. Zapata falsely entering these individuals into the system, 3 ballots were then issued. The evidence is going to show that these ballots were all entered, or these people were all entered in the system within about 20 minutes of each other. All came from the same terminal location. All were issued by all were applied for by Ms. Zapata. Now, the way we know for sure that it was Ms. Zapata doing this fraud, she admitted it. Ms. Zapata went to her boss, the executive director of the Milwaukee Elections Commission, Claire Whittle, and told her that I entered 3 false names into the system to have military ballots issued. She then sat down for an interview, sat down for that interview with an attorney present with her. And she said during that interview, I fabricated 3 names. I created 3 false individuals to have ballots issued. I knew this was wrong. I knew this was against my authority. I did it anyways. For these actions, Ms. Zapata is charged with 2 offenses, or 2 separate classes of offenses. First offense is misconduct in public office. That is 4 elements. Ms. Zapata was a public employee. She engaged in some particular conduct. That conduct was in excess of her authority, and that she knew it was in excess of her authority. Ms. Zapata was the Deputy Director of the Elections Commission. That is a public employee. In that role, she fabricated 3 individuals to create false military ballots. That is her conduct. That conduct was in excess of her authority. The Deputy Director of any individual does not have the authority to create false individuals to defraud our elections. And she knew that conduct was in excess of her authority because she told us. She said it in an interview once. Second class of offense is making false statements to obtain military absentee ballots. She's charged with 3 counts of this, 1 for each of the 3 individuals that she falsely fabricated. False statements to obtain absentee ballots has 3 elements. First, she made a statement to obtain absentee ballots. Those statements in this case will be creating 3 false personas. Second, those statements were false. These people did not exist. Finally, that she knew the statement were false. Ms. Zapata knew she was not Holly Jones, Holly Adams, or Holly Branch. She knew she was entering false information. Now, for each of these counts, the the misconduct in office and the 3 counts of false statements to obtain an absentee ballot, the state needs to prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a burden the state welcomes, we will meet. As the deputy director, Ms. Zapata was entrusted with safeguarding our elections. She responded to that trust by inserting fraud into our election. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that you listen to all the evidence, you fairly and impartially weigh it, and you render a verdict that is just, that is in accordance with the law and the facts of the case. In the trial, I'll come back before you and ask that you find Ms. Zapata guilty of all 4 counts.
Tony Hams.
Thank you. Thank you all, and for your service, for being here, and for serving as Kimberly Zapata's citizen jury. You are going to hear this week the facts of this case, and apply it to the law given by the judge. At the end of this case, the conclusion that I believe that you all will have when we go back to deliberate is that Kimberly Zapata committed no crime. She is not a criminal. She is a legitimate whistleblower about a legitimate issue in the election system in the state of Wisconsin, and that the state's theory of criminality that they're going to present to you this week does not match what the judge will instruct you on. Now, the state's right. The opening statement here is a preview of what you're going to hear this week. But I'll tell you, the statement that attributes to my client that I did it anyway. She knew something was wrong and that I did it anyways. That statement's not coming into court because that statement was never made. As you listen to the evidence this week, there's going to be a lot of things that have come through one lens that you all will get to look at with fresh eyes and open minds. At the end of the evidence, you're going to learn Kimberly Zapata committed no crime. Now, the state does have the burden. I'm glad that they have established that they take that burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It puts me in a bit of a situation because I am reacting mostly. I'm asking questions of their witnesses. And a lot of what my job is this week is to show what the evidence does not show. And I'd start off because I think everyone is thinking this, given the subject matter. Was Kimberly Zapata wearing a red hat? Was she a Republican operative? Or was she wearing a blue hat? And was she acting as a Democratic operative in this case? When at 5 in the morning, 4:50 in the morning, on October 25, she applied for these 3 absentee military ballots. Here's the answer, what the evidence is going to show. She wasn't wearing either of those hats. She didn't have a blue hat on. She didn't have a red hat on. She's a legitimate whistleblower. And let me clear something else up about this case. Wisconsin elections are fair. Wisconsin elections are secure because of Kimberly Zapata and her former colleagues. What she did, however, in 2020, in October, was to show a gap within that fair and secure election system. A gap in security that nobody was talking about. Nobody was taking seriously. She did this because, you'll learn from the state's witnesses, Kimberly Zapata has a personality to tend to fixate on things, become hyper-focused on things. And given her workplace, which you'll hear from the state's witness, was extremely stressful from about 2016, that election, through the midterms in 18, through the next presidential election in 2020. Very, very stressful. You'll hear that people were sending emails that my client reviewed and that the state's witness reviewed, calling for a firing squad for death to city elections workers. You're going to learn that she was extremely stressed out by nearly constant conspiracy, mongers. At some point, a map of their office. These are people who are just clerks. They're just trying to get paper from one point to another to uphold democracy. And they're being threatened and cajoled every day. Not able to sleep on October 25, my client, in fact, did send 3 absentee military ballots. The evidence is going to show that. You're going to learn that she used the same exact website that each and every person in this courtroom today can access, and without a voter ID, without a voter registration, without anything, you can get a absentee ballot sent basically anywhere in the world. She is exposing that gap, that flaw in the system. Her purpose, and this is where the state's evidence will fall short, her purpose was not to obtain anything. She was not going to vote those ballots. She was not committing any fraud. She had no fraudulent intent. She was a whistleblower, showing that this public my vote system was faulty. She sent, and you're going to hear how naive this was. You're going to hear that she is not political. She sent these ballots to Janelle Branchin, who she later learned was not a credible individual in terms of this subject matter, but someone that she knew from her job was very interested, for better or for worse, in election security. She wanted those ballots to go to her because she knew the ballots would not be cast. She knew that it would give this person who traffics in conspiracy something legitimate to talk about, so that maybe this small gap in the election system could be fixed. At the end of this case, ladies and gentlemen, I am very confident that you will learn that my client had no purpose in obtaining any ballots. She was not acting in any official authority when she did so on October 25, and that the state's theory is complete bunk, and this case should have never been brought before you. But that it's a good thing that we have citizen juries, so that you can undo the injustice that has happened to my client.
Objection.
Thank you.